Audio Jungle.
Good day. I'm sitting today with Russell Curtis from Invest Durban. Russell is one of our KZN Business Sense editorial partners, and we'd like to ask him a few questions about the current projects that are happening in eThekwini. Russell, over to you.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Gail. Good to be with you, and greetings to all those who are watching. It's wonderful to be sitting in this great location, the IBV Privé, one of the wonderful investments by fellow Durbanites, patriots of South Africa. And as Invest Durban, Gail, we are pleased to be continuing to put our shoulder to additional investments by local patriots, and pleased to be putting our shoulder to the international community and to visitors and guests for potential new investment opportunities across the city of Durban.
There's quite a drive to invest in infrastructure in eThekwini currently. How will that impact on investors looking to come into the area?
Well, I think it's important that we start with reminding ourselves where we once were, because it's a benchmark to say we can get back there again. And so not that long ago, Durban was awarded as having the best electricity distribution network on the entire African continent. Not that long ago, Durban was awarded with the Blue Drop water quality status as having some of the best quality tap water for drinking, in fact, in the world. Not that long ago, Durban was awarded by the likes of the TomTom Traffic Index as being the least congested metro in South Africa, keeping the wheels of commerce and industry moving, and our roads smooth enough and happy enough for parents to do the school run in the morning without too much stress. So I think it's important we remind ourselves that we were there once and we're getting back there again. I think everyone knows that South Africa as a whole, and Durban no exception to that, we've had our infrastructure challenges in recent years through a number of different causes. But rather than looking at the past, I think the importance is where do we find ourselves today and where are we going forward in terms of the infrastructure upgrades for tomorrow. So where we find ourselves today, I'm absolutely convinced in my heart that some of the worst is behind us, and everyone is doubling down to get back to where we were with the electricity, where we were with the potable quality water, with the water and sanitation, the roads, the bridges, etc. And why do I say that? Well, I say that because we are a beneficiary of the partnership between business leadership and government leadership. It first started at the national government levels with the likes of the National Logistics Crisis Committee, a team at a national level working on electricity, and now increasingly also on safety and security and water. And so those apex partnerships at a national level between business leadership and government leadership have been starting to bear fruit here for Durban's benefit, yes, for South Africa's benefit as a whole. But logistics, for example, starts and ends in Durban, or ends and starts in Durban, depending on whether you're importing or exporting. And so there's significant work around that. Likewise on the electricity and water front. Now, coming closer to home, why I'm so convinced that our days ahead are better than our days past is the President has replicated that partnership with a specific focus on Durban. For a year now, we've had the Presidential eThekwini working groups. These are about 6 or 7 working groups, thematic in nature and focusing on exactly the same things, so power, water, roads, but also some additional things which are big for Durban, like tourism. Bringing together business leaders in those areas, partnering with national, provincial, and now metropolitan leaders, targeting specifically those infrastructure upgrades in the city of Durban. And so you're starting to see now some of the fruits of those 12 months worth of hard work hitting the headlines, where we are getting additional capital budgets so that we can get back to where we were. We're getting partnerships with business also contributing resources and trying to reduce the timelines between where we find ourselves today and where we want to get back to having absolute continuity of supply on water, power, sanitation, and the smooth roads that we all enjoy. So these are the two initiatives, the national one and the metropolitan one, that I'm convinced are moving the needle in tangible ways.
Those will certainly make a big difference to the whole area going forward. Are there any specific developments that you would like to highlight?
One, for example, is the additional 10 billion rand that has been committed on top of eThekwini's own resources to materially address the water and sanitation. I think all South Africans and those who've been tracking South Africa's history know we went through electricity problems, and now those, please Heavenly Father, are largely going behind us now because of the sustained effort of business leadership, government leadership, and also international support. There's been a lot of headlines about the USA, and I think it's important, again, we remind ourselves of good partners like the USA. They made significant contributions, financial, corporate investment, international government, into addressing that electricity issue with us together. And so the same is now happening with water and sanitation. So the most recent headlines, an additional 10 billion rand, combined with a new way of working. So in terms of our eThekwini water and sanitation, much like some of the other SOEs or parastatals, going through an institutional restructure, which was much more focused, much more business aligned, and much more efficient in terms of delivering what is required in a faster space of time. So there's an institutional restructuring, an improved turnaround business plan, which is now empowered with significant new financial resources in excess of 3 billion rand over these next 3 years, on top of eThekwini's own capital budget. So our capital budget is already at scale. We sit still with investment grade credit ratings as the municipality, AA- in the long term, A1+ in the short term, the last time I checked. And that then allows us to have an operating budget which is fast approaching 70 billion rand.
That's really impressive.
Quite at scale.
Yes.
And then, we're targeting 7 to 10% of that being dedicated to this infrastructure upgrades. So this money coming along is on top of that and is being injected into a much more efficient and modern business model.
That really will make a big difference to the city and the city going forward. And your role in Invest Durban, how do you plug into this bigger picture?
Well, whether it's infrastructure or opportunities in any one of the sectors, Durban is still probably, I would say, whether you want to say the last frontier of opportunity on the African continent or one of the best frontiers of opportunity on the African continent. And so sticking with the infrastructure theme, where we as Invest Durban come in, is just one of the pure private sector investment opportunities in infrastructure, is in a package of 2 new regional wastewater treatment works. It's in the region of potentially a 100 million euro project. We have the likes of the IMF as our transaction advisors, and the doors are being opened for local investors to partner with international investors and come in and invest that circa 2 billion rand into build, own, operate 2 new regional wastewater treatment works and the pump and pipe networks to feed those regional wastewater treatment works, one for the north and one for the south. So these are very real investment opportunities for people with the right appetite, the right technology, and a nice big checkbook.
And as you said, partnerships is really the way to go. They're critical to getting these type of projects off the ground and operational.
It is. This term public-private partnership, it's been bandied around for a long time. But we need to move beyond the talk, because public-private partnerships have been a bit slow if we look at a 20-year history. And so the determination, whether it be on behalf of National Treasury or on behalf of the eThekwini Metro Council, is to move beyond just talking about PPPs, and let's actually craft project-specific opportunities that have a clear runway for investors to land on them. And so I think we've entered that paradigm. It isn't just the City of Durban. You're seeing these partnerships become available through Transnet, through Renewal Water Authority, through AXA and many others. So we've arrived at a time in history where I think less talking, more doing, and jointly implementing those partnerships.
It really is time to make a difference so that we can grow and move forward as a city.
Absolutely. Sitting on the tip of the African continent, if you look at the projections of megacities around the world, the IMF have a nice animated slide which show where the concentration of megacities will be globally by the years 2050 and 2060. And something like 8 or 9 out of 10 of the world's future megacities will in fact be on the African continent. So the whole world is coming to Africa, and Africa will be the center of the world within perhaps our children's lifetimes. And what exists in these megacities? Well, billionaires, opportunity, and many other frontiers for those partnerships.
And Durban's location says it all. We are on the coast, so that's a huge advantage and always has been.
Gail, I've often compared and contrasted us to other major centres, even just in South Africa. We fully concede that Johannesburg and Gauteng is the economic hub, not just of South Africa, but in fact of the whole continent. You know, the interesting comparison is if you had to cut Gauteng out and make it a country, economically it would be the third largest country on the continent. So conversely, we love Cape Town, beautiful lifestyle, entertainment, etc. But what we say about Durban is we have the best combination of a lifestyle of that business, of that pleasure, in one city. So that's what we feel our niche is. It's the best of an economic heart, an economic hub, huge opportunities, combined with that lifestyle, that tourism, that culture, that outdoor, that family, that entertainment, embedded in one city. And so it has benefits to business as well as to life.
Thank you, Russell. You really given us lots of food for thought, and we wish you well as you look for more partners in moving Durban forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gail. We invite all our business partners locally and internationally to reach out to us. We've got a number of other programs which I wasn't able to touch on today, like a focus on our inner city regeneration, which is partnering with many others to get that golden goose of the downtown Durban and the Golden Mile, again, back to the heydays. And we're seeing it even in places like our Golden Mile beachfront now. Clean, safe, 24/7, 365 as we speak.
Definitely, and it's a place that I visit often, so I appreciate it every time I visit.
Great, thanks, Gail.
Thanks, Russell.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Audio Jungle.